There's endless chatter within American manufacturing about the skills gap. I can't find people, or I can't find good people, or the right people. Well, the elephant in the room when it comes to hiring is drugs, or more specifically, narcotics. Now, several sources are reporting that test failure rates of over 30% amongst applicants who pass the interview and are offered jobs in American manufacturing is common. So what's going on? Is narcotics use so epidemic in America that almost a third of employable adults are high? Well, that's unlikely, but the undeniable fact is that soft drugs like marijuana are not only legal in places like Colorado, they're increasingly viewed as recreational substances equivalent to alcohol in health risk and social stability. Now, many Americans are smoking marijuana after working and on weekends. And with today's drug testing technology, it's possible to detect microscopically small quantities of residual THC in an applicant's body long after they consumed the marijuana. So what do we do? Well, restricting the access to marijuana has been a costly failure, and so far jurisdictions where it's legal don't seem to have significant increases in negative effects socially or economically. So I think legalization is highly likely to spread. Now that, of course, doesn't mean it's a good idea to operate a 5-axis machining center or a forklift truck when impaired by any substance, legal or illegal. Anyone who's been in manufacturing for any length of time knows that a small percentage of every team contains at least one individual with some form of substance abuse problem, commonly alcohol. Unions like the UAW recognize it, and they have programs in place to help those workers. And in many jurisdictions, when identified, the employer is responsible for providing substance abuse counseling and remediation programs. And that's all fine. But when it comes to hiring, the hard fact is that your next candidate, possibly your ideal candidate, may well be using drugs recreationally. Now, ultimately, I predict that we as manufacturers are going to have to adjust our expectations to set threshold levels for drug tests that account for off-shift and weekend use of soft drugs like marijuana. Now, that's not to say that we should endorse the consumption of narcotics in any form. I don't smoke marijuana, and I don't recommend that anyone should. But a good, productive factory worker that shows up reliably and sober for every shift is an asset. What they do in their spare time is nobody's business but their own. Companies with a more enlightened policy in marijuana may be able to cherry-pick great applicants turned down by more traditional manufacturers to their benefit. But let's be clear. Just like cigarette smoking, I don't advocate or foresee any environment where marijuana use can or should be tolerated within the workplace. Nor can I foresee any circumstance where a worker clocking in high or drunk will be tolerated. But it happens. In my career, more than once I've sent a line worker home for alcohol intoxication. I expect the same will happen with marijuana. Get over it. We have work to do.